So I remember that most times when I was truly like happy despite the weight or the burdens or like the situation I was in, are moments when I was like naively and stupidly optimistic about life. And I think that's a trait that I want to bring back into this new life, to actually nature it, to just be insanely positive, um, positive maxing, I like to say. You know, 14 days ago, I was on my bed, on the corner of my bed, and I just felt this intense anxiety about life. Um, I feel like I was really feeling and feeling and being eaten up by the consequences of my mistakes. And I just gave myself, or not really gave myself, but I prayed, and then I asked myself, I begged myself, well, not really me, but something inside me, as like a spirit. Um, I like to believe that it was Jesus. We can argue. I don't care what you say, but I like to believe that it was Jesus that begged me to just give myself a chance to just start again, to like fulfill out all these ideas and things I've been so afraid to do, to just give myself the chance to repair and make amends with those that I hurt, and amends with the inner child in me that I had destroyed through my vices, my irresponsibilities, and my actions. And I'm sorry, and I think that the world is already as negative as it can get. The real world, as people like to say, that the real world is very harsh. It's already negative. It's already has so much death, war, destruction. I think I've been reading that we're going into a recession now. I mean, it just it's a bad place to be in, and we can't we can't then allow that, like the world already is a bad place, and then we let our minds become another bad place. It's destructive, and from my experience, it's it can lead you to do stupid stuff, you know. So I gave myself the day one, and I started like journaling everything down. I started with like just doing 10 habits a day, to like just 10 habits a day to get through the day, to see like how my progress is going, and being better, you know, in shaping up this new persona, this chance I was given by Christ to redeem myself. And you know, I was just thinking about like how beautiful and you know valuable, and just how wonderful life can actually be sometimes. You know, and it gives me peace sometimes. To just because it's not every day. Like the past 13 days, it's not every day where I wake up and I'm happy to like go and conquer the day. Most days, many days actually, more than a quarter of the days that I've been trying to like shape up myself, that it's been a struggle to even wake up early, to bear the weight of my sins, to continue being brave, to be alive. But you know, after just consistently watching the sunrise, after a workout, or watching the sunset as I finish up my chores or some work, or when I try to read a book, I, I I feel a sense of like appreciation, you know, appreciation and a sense of hope for the next day towards the next sunrise. And it's even now become like a ritual that I can't wait for the next day to see the sunrise. I feel like SpongeBob in that one episode where Squidward thought SpongeBob was going to explode and die, and you know they spent the whole day and SpongeBob was just doing mundane things, but when Squidward was like in that in the in that day with him, when they were now watching the sunset and he was expecting SpongeBob to die, and SpongeBob was just saying, you know, for SpongeBob knew that he wasn't going to die. He just knew that it was just another day for him, but he was so optimistic, so positive about the day, like the mundane things, jellyfishing, and just the mundane things. And I remember when I was a kid, you know, which I feel like I'm inviting that that spirit of joy back again. That seeing the sunrise also gave me so much joy. Um, when I have moments of nostalgia, I don't think about the things that I had, or a time when my parents had a lot of money or whatnot. The things that actually like give me a sense of like good nostalgia are just the way I felt whilst I was just running around, whilst I was just talking to a friend, a certain smell of food that my mom made, um, being in my cousins, being with you know, around my sister, playing around with my little sister, with my older sisters, being with my brother, going around, helping my brother out with his work. And I've now come to realize that if I want to have more bitter memories for when I'm old, right now I need to create that future nostalgia, and that future nostalgia is only through just viewing life in the most brightest way that I can, viewing life as the gift it is. And it's not like every day is going to be a good day, you know. There's some days when it's just cloudy, you just don't feel okay, you know, nothing makes sense, you don't know what to do next, you don't know what to do with your life. Maybe even like you're just scared to go into the next day. Scared to go into the next day because you're anxious about the outcome of a fuck up, or I don't know, man. especially if you have the ability. I believe that if you have the ability to be able to walk, see, speak, listen, to write, to read, to just imbue the sense of creativity that God gave us, you have the ability to just choose and see the beauty of life and just enjoy and smile at the sun and you know just be grateful for existing. I feel like most times when I feel so much anxiety outside of the fear of my fuck ups, outside of that, most times when I felt such great anxiety was because I felt like I didn't achieve something. I didn't achieve something physical, or I didn't achieve a sense of validation from the people I was trying to validate, and that that ended up having power over me. I feel like if you always choose to have a negative view of the world because the world already is negative, in a way, you're kind of selling yourself to the world. You're being eaten up by it. I saw that I saw a post from somewhere that if you just genuinely smile more, you end up just believing that you're happy. You end up just being a happy soul. And it doesn't matter, to be honest, what people try, like when people say they're trying to ground you into reality, like, life ain't all rainbows and sunshines. Life can be rainbows and sunshines. Because the world we live in is terrible, but the world you make, the world you choose to perceive, can be the exact opposite. And I can turn that into reality. Because as much as the world has so much bad things happening, there's so many good things coming out of it. I feel like that's the real perseverance of the human spirit. That despite of a world run by pedophiles, Satanists, terrorists, all that shebang, and people are mostly focused on the like latest song, latest album, what this other motherfucker tweeted, or what she said, he said, and they just choose to ground themselves and smile at, you know, the finer things in life. Not only do we stop seeing value in the materialistic stuff, but we stop being held up and, you know, being enslaved by what the world expects of us, and actually choose to be what we expect of ourselves. And I honestly believe that everyone, each one of us, expects the best out of ourselves. And when we expect the best out of ourselves and we try to achieve the best of ourselves, even when we don't reach that expectation we put on ourselves, it doesn't weigh on us as much as the expectation of someone else on you. You know, it doesn't weigh as much as the expectation of your parents. It doesn't weigh as much as the expectation of, um, your partner, your friends. It doesn't weigh as much because you know that, okay, I wanted to no, let's say this, like, I want to achieve a Greek god physique or something like that, and you continuously go to the gym, and that's just you, right? That's just you. This is like without watching like the body of someone else and trying to achieve someone else's body, but this is just you saying that I want to, like, you know, have visible abs. Like, out of you, you look in the mirror and you see a potential, like you see your potential of what you can become, and you do the things that help you achieve that expectation of yourself. And let's say, you know, your goal was to reach like 65 kgs, and maybe in a month, and maybe you like reach 63. You really won't even give a shit that you didn't reach 65. You'll be more surprised that you were even able to like continuously do it. You'll be so proud of yourself, and no one else can ever take that away from you. No one. So yeah, life can be rainbows and sunshines. And even when it's a cloudy day, you know, you learn to appreciate the sun after a cloudy day. You learn to love the sounds of rain. You learn to appreciate the hardships. The hardships are not so hard when you love what you're chasing. The hardships are not so hard when you enjoy the process of achieving something that you set for yourself. Like one must imagine Sisyphus happy when he's rolling up that boulder up the hill. You know, it seems so like stupid. Like why would you be happy pushing off a boulder up a hill? I mean, Sisyphus was cursed to do that. That was his like life now. And if that was, and they understood that if that was his purpose, then well, it's best to just enjoy it. It's best to just find joy in the mundane, in the simpleness of that task, and the you know. I think the greatest gift that God ever gave us was the ability to turn a curse into a joy. I think about that when I look at the cross, especially in Christianity, as a Christian myself. Christ on the cross, he's in great pain, he's suffering. He even calls out to his father, like, Father, why have you forsaken me? But we found a way to turn that pain, that agony on the cross, that suffering into something beautiful, something that when many believers look at, they feel a sense of comfort, of joy. We found a way to see the death of a great man into a sacrifice for our greater good. And it's not, and you know, as a Christian, I read around a lot of like spiritualism as well. It doesn't deter me from my faith in God, honestly. But even in other religions, you know, there's symbols of people who suffered greatly, but because of the faith of their believers, of the hope of something better, of that naive optimism of something greater, of something good coming out of something bad, we're able to like make it a symbol of goodness, of hope, of virtue. But yeah, I think that's my yap for today. Just just positive max, man. Positivity maxing. Pretty sure someone on TikTok will find a better phrase for it, but Joymaxxing? Yeah, Joymaxxing. Just Joymax, bro. Just Joymax. I mean, what is there to lose? Like, what do you lose? I feel like there's more to gain than there is anything to lose. Most people say, "Oh, you lose a sense of reality." No, you don't. I don't. Joymaxing doesn't mean losing a sense of reality. It just means finding the little gaps where you can be happy in this harsh, cruel world. I mean, that isn't that what music comes from? The slaves in America, you know, the songs to get them through the hard, stifling days in grief. We share memories of our loved ones who have passed on, and we find joy and solace in that. Is that getting out of reality, or is that embracing the hard fact of the hardships of life and still finding the joy and the perseverance to carry on and continue living the life you were given. But anyway, I digress. I don't know. Just Joymaxx, fuck nigga.